Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Sisters Cafe. Y'all, we just sitting here having a little cafe beverage, talking to each other, catching up, seeing what we got going on. We're going to allow you guys to take a moment and come on in. And while you're doing that, and all those who come in, go ahead and share this. Go on to the Sisters Cafe page, and it should be live. And go ahead and share. Share with your friends, your family, your church members, your people at work, people down the street, everybody you know. Just go ahead and share it on your platform, and we are going to get into it and share it with your girlfriends because they're going to need to hear all about this today. Y'all, we excited. It ain't nothing huge, huge, huge. We just talking. You know how we do at the cafe. So I'm excited. But more than that, I'm excited to introduce to y'all, which needs no introduction, I'm sure, because I know you guys have seen and heard about the things that she's up to, the prayers that she prays, the people she talked to, the moves she is making. Y'all, welcome to the cafe, Miss Kimisha King. Yay!
Hi. Good night, good night, good night. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. It's such a
Yeah,
pleasure to be here tonight.
I am super excited, but the most why did I go? Oh, I disappeared. What's in your cup,
Yeah,
girl?
I got some water.
Y'all, Kamisha brought water to the cafe.
Yeah, I got some water.
But there's nothing wrong with that. You can drink whatever you
That's
want
right.
at the cafe. It's your
That's
choice.
right.
Not only that, water is good. Now, what's the
hmm
rule? Are we supposed to drink our body weight in water?
I think that's what it say. I think that's what it is. Yeah, our body weight in water. Yeah,
Do you know how much
yeah.
water that is for me? I might as well go jump in the ocean or something because that's a lot of water.
It's not
That's a,
that.
so that would
It's
be
funny.
so and so amount of
I think
ounces.
it's a particular. I can't remember how much it is. It's some type of portion. It's a portion that you have to drink. I am not sure how much though.
Okay. So I know the standard is 8 cups,
Yeah,
but the
yeah, 6 to 8
reality
cups a
is
day.
ounces in weight.
Mhm.
Oh, I wonder.
Mhm.
I'm not even gonna
That's it.
calculate it right now, but I think I'm gonna need to calculate how many gallons that is that I have to drink because I know I got a several gallons all in here somewhere.
Uh oh.
But yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, I don't even know if I can drink that much water.
Okay, well,
But
well, let
I
me
think
look that up so we so we make
right.
sure we tell them the right thing. I say it says no, you are not supposed to drink your body weight in water. It's that it says that it's a common myth and it could actually be dangerous. So please don't drink your body weight in water. So that's a bit too much. But they say you drink half your body weight in ounces of
Oh,
water per day.
okay.
All right.
So half
So if
your
you weigh
body
like a
weight.
hundred and yeah, so if you weigh like 160 pounds, then you just drink like 80 ounces of water.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
that's better.
doable.
Okay.
That's
I was
doable.
thinking I had to go get one of those water towers that be up with the cities on it.
Uh
I'm like, look, I need to go get a water tower if I got to do that. That's a lot. That's
oh. No.
but no. So you guys, you heard it here.
Mhm.
It's half your body weight in ounces. So it's
Mm.
not gallons of how much you weigh. So
Right.
just don't drink too much water, everybody. Don't drink too much.
Don't drink
And it
too
is
much.
because I heard on the news a couple of people had passed away from drinking too much water.
Maybe that's what they were trying to do then. Maybe they were trying to to do that, drink their
Right.
body weight in water, and that's what
So
caused the problem.
probably because I think a lot of people think that. So hopefully Everybody
Mhm.
has heard the news. Do not
Yes.
do that because it's
Do not.
dangerous.
Yes.
Oh wow. Yeah, that would have been all bad. I'm not even sure
Yeah.
that I could though. Are you do you drink a
Mhm.
lot of water or is it always just the Stanley cup?
I do. I usually drink my big cup of water. I probably
Okay.
drink like two of these a day.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the standard, correct? I
Yeah.
think so.
That's the standard. Yeah.
Now, do you
Yeah.
put anything in it or do you just drink straight water?
I just drink straight water. Sometimes I may add lemon, but not majority of the times it's just water.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
hmm
Have you always
Yeah.
been like that or did you say, okay, look, I need to drink more water?
I think I just liked water because I recognize I just drank it. And maybe because in growing up I used to play netball and I would drink a lot of water because I knew that was important. And so I would have just drank water. And then obviously I've always been taught to, because you're so busy, you're supposed to stay hydrated. Because the worst thing is to, you're so busy, you don't get to do certain things, and then you have that dehydration. It's not good at all because it causes headaches and so many other things can happen. And so from that standpoint, I've always walked with water everywhere I go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good.
Mhm.
That means you're all nice and cleaned out. Very
Yeah.
good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
You are an example to us all.
Oh my.
But no,
Yes.
I
Mhm.
wanted you to come on first of all because I've been wanting to do this for a long time.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you know how we get busy and we're grinding all the time, so it's like we
Mhm.
forget certain things. But I
That's true.
wanted to have you on because I've watched you for a while. I've watched you. I
Mhm.
think I don't know how long we've been friends on Facebook, but we
Yeah.
were friends on Facebook even long before
We connected.
right before we connected. I
Yeah.
thought, okay, this is super cool. You got me wanting to come to Barbados, like for real. I'm
Yep.
coming though. I'm definitely coming
I'm
out
gonna
there.
remember that.
Yeah, I will. I
Yeah.
will.
Okay.
Um, this traveling stuff
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
wonderful to me. We just got back from Brazil, and
Oh wow.
oh, it was. Oh, I don't
Oh my
even know
goodness.
how to describe it. I think the love
Wow.
of ministry plus
Yeah.
traveling, to
Mhm.
be able to speak to a room full of women who don't even speak English, it was
Wow.
just, and for them to come up after and say, that was for me.
Wow.
Oh my God, Jesus is
Wow. That's
universal.
amazing.
That's one thing I've learned.
Yes.
Jesus is universal. We may not know a whole bunch
Mhm.
of stuff, but we understand
Mhm.
that we love and honor God. So I love that. But it was just
Yeah.
amazing. It just made me say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm going back. Oh, where else can I go?" I think that's another time
Yes.
I text you. I'm like, anything going on
Mhm.
in Barbados? Because I was on a
Yeah.
roll. 'Cause right before
Mhm.
Brazil, we had just came back from Italy. So I'm like,
Wow.
I'm ready. I'm so ready. If
Yeah.
this is what
Okay, good.
being in the kingdom is, oh, I'm
Yeah.
100% for it. And I'm
Mhm.
gonna get to you. Let me tell you this though. For years
Okay.
and years, I was in a storefront church. That's how
Mm.
that's where I was born in.
Uh-huh.
And that's our family's church. And I remember for years I would sit on the front pew, but I
Mhm.
used to say it's got to be more to God than this.
Yeah.
Just going to church, seeing the same five people, going out to
Mhm.
eat, and then
Yeah.
recycling that. And I just
Yeah.
remember saying, it's got to be more. And as I got
Mhm.
older and older and got to meet different people and hear their testimonies and the things that God has done for so many people,
Wow.
I'm like, there's a big world out there that we
You're
need
right.
to get to and
Yeah.
tell them about Jesus, like real talk.
Mhm.
So to be
Mhm.
able to go to a whole nother country and be able to minister to people, this is what I meant when I was like, God, it's got to be more than this. And he's
Mhm.
this great big God. He's got this great big universe. And I'm here for it. I'm
Yeah.
100% here for it. But
Yeah.
today is not about me. Today is about you. Um,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about
Mhm.
Kimisha.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so Kimisha is from the beautiful island of Barbados, born and raised from the parish of Christchurch. And just think about it, Christchurch. Isn't that amazing, the title alone? And so
Yeah.
that's where, yeah, that's where I grew up, born to a wonderful mother and father who both loved me dearly, sorry, who both brought me up in the church. And at such a young age, I just grew up seeing my family and different persons around me. I would see them like limit themselves or see them not push for more, for greater. And for me, I was like, okay, no, that's not. I don't want to settle. I want to do big. And I want to go bigger. I want to get it all. That was like my thought process. And I remember at such a young age, I became a go getter. I don't even know what really stirred it up in me, but I always wanted to go after stuff. I would always challenge myself at all levels. I remember when I was young, I was a part of so many different, groups and different activities. I had so many stuff going on. I'll always remember my mom say, "Oh my goodness, you are always busy." I was always busy from young, like literally. I had my own itinerary, so I knew I had netball, I had church, I had youth group that I was a part of. I was doing stuff at church, activities at church too as well. I was doing some of everything. I was doing activities at school. I played netball for school too as well. I was a part of different groups at school. So I had a booked calendar. And so when people say like you're so young, you don't have anything to worry about, I had so much
Yes.
to worry about.
Right, right.
There was always something happening. I was a part of competitions as well. I became the parish ambassador for my parish back in 2010. I remember being young, so young at the age of 4, just watching television and seeing the lifestyle of those persons who were on the television. And I thought to myself, like, every family should be able to live like this. But
Mhm.
nobody told me this is not necessarily reality. This is television. This doesn't happen in every family. And that's because I was looking at my family and I saw so much dysfunction. And to myself, I was like, whenever I grow up, I'm going to get a family like this. We're going to sit together. We're going to do picnics. We're going to do traveling together. All this stuff I started to create and I started to pursue it.
Mhm.
And I kept pursuing and pursuing. Some people say, that's not going to happen. It's a fairy tale. But I kept pursuing. I started placing like in my room I would actually put things on the wall and I put things on the door. And I didn't know that that was called affirmation. Honestly, nobody told me that these were affirmations. I would just say, peace lives here. My sister and I will live in love and unity. And nobody was telling me that. I was just saying those things. And, some people thought that something's wrong with her head. Like, something is off with her. Like something's off her. I'll put pictures up. I'll say that I'll do this at this age. I'll go this place. And all that stuff. I didn't realize I was creating vision boards. I didn't realize that's what I was doing. And I was speaking it. I would catch the bus. And only the other day when I brought my second book out, one of my childhood friends, she reminded me that I used to actually catch the bus and I used to tell all of them about my dreams. I couldn't even remember saying that. She said, yes, because they would be like, shut up. I was always talking about I'm gonna write a book and I'm gonna have this big house and I'm gonna go this place and that place. And I forgot that I said all of that at such a young age because I was just a dreamer. And I
Mhm.
still am. And I just kept dreaming and I kept going after everything that I put my mind to, I went after it. And I learned faith in the process. And through it all, it began to build me into who I am today because it built so much character, and it caused me to have to rely on God because I understood that He was the source in everything that I was able to accomplish. And without Him, I was not able to do anything at all. And I learned faith as well from my mom. I saw her using applying faith, and she taught us how to apply faith. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna apply this thing called faith. And every time I applied it, we got results. And so I kept using it, and I kept applying it, and I grew and I grew. And then shortly after that, went to college, went to university, and then finally I got to a place where it's time for me to work. And I thought to myself, who wants to do this all the days of their life? Like, I don't want to do this all the days of my life. Like, I don't want to do this forever. And I remember I would say, by the age of 30, I'm going to retire. And people thought that I was crazy because I was making that statement, like, you're going to retire where? Like, that's not possible. And so I kept dreaming. and I kept working at it and working at it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to retire at 30, but it's still in the plan for me to retire because I haven't given up on that dream. I'm going to retire before I turn 40. So that's the plan. I'm going to retire. So, you keep pushing back, you keep working towards it. And at such a young age, I think it was at age 15, I started my business. And it was merely to help support myself and to also assist where I could with my mom, seeing her financial strains and so on. And so I wanted to be able to stand on my own. And one day I was just at school, and my best friend, she said, "Can you braid my hair for me?" And I was like, "Okay." And I braided it, and everybody started talking about how good her hair looks and how they like the style and everything. And I was like, "Okay." And so then I cannot even talking about it now is crazy. Like I charged $2 to get your hair done. $2. You got your hair done for $2, and nobody told me I was undercharging. Everybody was coming for a hair plan for $2. It was braided here for $2, and then I upgraded from $2 to $5 because I felt like $5 was so much more. And so I started a braid here at school in lunchtime, and you come get your hair plait quickly for $5, and then at home I'll braid your hair for between $5 to $10 depending on the style. And to me, I felt like I was making a lot of money because I was able to have money for school and to buy stuff because I didn't have to pay bills or anything like that. My parents took care of that, but I was able then to buy stuff for myself and so on. And then eventually I realized this is a business. Until one day I was even doing hair free sometimes. Some people come and they'll say they don't have the money and they can't pay. And I
Mhm.
always remember my mom came out and she said, "No, if you don't pay, you're not getting your hair done." Because she always said, "You have to charge. Don't let these grown women come and do that to you because when they go to the salon, they have to pay. And you're giving a good service, so let them pay." And it taught me a lesson that how if you do not stand up for yourself. There's some people that will walk all over you. They wouldn't value it. They won't value what you're given. They just see an advantage or opportunity and they take full advantage of that. And that's what was happening at some points. Persons were saying they didn't have the funds, but yet still they were going elsewhere and they had the funds. And I was thinking to myself, I'm giving back because I have a heart for the people. And so if somebody says they don't have, I'm not going to question it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna help you, and that's who I was, who I am actually, and that kept me. That became kind of like a sore tongue. It's something that through the process I've had to learn how to say no. I become okay with saying no. I understand that because I say no, it doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It means
Right.
that I understand the value that I have and understand what I carry. So I had to learn that along the way. Thank you God for my mom for teaching me that at that time, so that I was able to say, okay, you gotta put a stop to this. And then I grew a blossom into that. Like I said, I started that first business and then it turned into another business. I was always creating businesses all along. Nobody told me I was an entrepreneur. I didn't even know what that word was, but I just found a way to help myself. That's what I would say. If there was a problem, I found a solution. I never stuck or stayed in a place where I kept complaining. I just kept finding ways to make it work for me. So where all of my friends would say, they don't know how it's possible or they don't know if they can do it, I found a way. When I went to university, an opportunity had opened for me, and that was the opportunity to study overseas in Canada. But you had to pay, and the funds were pretty high. It was 15,000 Canadian dollars at that time. And of course, with that currency, I think it was almost like 2 to 1 in our currency. So that meant that it was like close to $30,000 Barbadian dollars for us. And I know my parents didn't have the funds that they could send me, but I had a dream because before I went to university, I always said I wanted to study overseas. And you have to be careful with your tongue because I spoke that, I forgot what I said. And then in the summertime, I got an opportunity to actually work in the office at the university where I was studying. And when I worked in that office for the summertime, it was in that office that they talked about the opportunity to study abroad. And so I remember students were coming in and I was like, what's this program? Like, I want to learn more about the program. And then I found out about it. And then they said that you can apply for a scholarship. So it wasn't anything secure because with the scholarship, of course, it's a CARICOM scholarship. So I'm not the only person who's applying. There are individuals who are applying from Trinidad, from St. Vincent, St. Lucia, like all across the Caribbean, right? And so here I am now, and I'm thinking I'm gonna do that. And so my term was starting just a few months down the line. I signed up and I asked, what do I need to have? They said your GPA has to be a 3.0 or higher. That's the
Mhm.
only way you're going to even get through the program. And then once you finish that, once you pass that stage, then the next step is that you have to get the funding. Either you can pay out of pocket or you can apply for a scholarship. I just
Okay.
went right in. And my friends, they signed up with me and everything. But when they heard that part, a lot of them, they backed out. They cancel their application and stuff because it's like, oh, their parents don't have the money. And I'm like, but I'm going. And they're like, but where are you going to get the money from? I'm like, I'm going to go. I'm going to trust God. I don't know how this is going to work, but I am going. And so when I came home and I told my parents that I was going, I didn't even ask them. I just said, I'm going, because I'm like, I'm going to this thing. And I knew I had to find the funds. And it was never easy because then I really put my entrepreneurial skills to test. I started to sell popcorn. I sold ice cream. I actually sold what we call here in Barbados sucker bubbies. It's like a Kool-Aid kind of thing,
Okay.
and yeah, so I sold those to the children within the community. I remember selling juices too as well. Every Saturday, I would be at my church right by the gate where the traffic will be passing by. I with my umbrella, and as persons pass by, I'll sell them that so that I can generate some funding and so on. And then it wasn't sufficient because there were different fees that had to be paid at different times. And then I came up with another idea. I said, I'm going to do a dollar drive. I did a dollar drive. And I was able to make some funds too, but still not enough. I reached out to some organizations for sponsorship. A lot of persons turned me down. They laughed in your face. They like, this is crazy, so they didn't support it. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to do a barbecue. And then I went, I never stopped. I went, I got all this stuff that I needed to sell hamburgers and hot dogs and juices and so on at my church. I got some of the church persons to come out and support. But yet still, we didn't meet the quota because there were a lot of things that were remaining. I had to end up giving out like package of bread and hot dogs and hamburgers. I'm like, God, what's happening? You know what I mean? Like I'm pushing at every phase. And then shortly after that, I said, okay, I never stayed in that place for too long. That's one thing that I learned. You don't stay there too long. Okay, you got 30 seconds to feel bad about the situation, but you got to pick yourself up and you got to go for it. And that was it. So I took that time and I felt bad for that moment. Like, what's going to happen? I was like, okay, I got to go again. And I would get up every single day, go to the computer, turn the computer on, go on to the university that I of choice that I wanted to go to. And guess what? The name of the university is called Queen's University. Ain't God funny? He is always up to something.
What?
And Queen's University. That was the name of the university. I would go onto the computer every day and I'll just go onto their website and I'll just see myself there. I will look at all the pictures and the videos of the classes and the roads and everything. And I just kept saying, I'm going to Queen's University. I didn't have an acceptance letter. I didn't know anything, but I just kept saying it all the time. When my friends asked me how it was going, I told them I was accepted because I believed that I was accepted. So in
Mhm.
my mind, I wasn't lying. I was telling what I know was going to come. And so I kept walking in that all the time, kept believing, kept going forward. I did everything that I know I could. And then once again, still not enough funds. The last event that I did was a concert. And this one was so disappointing because I made sure that I promoted this concert in church. I told friends and everything. And when we got there, the only people that attended the conference was the performers and my family. That's it. And so here we are in this big church. I have all the performers who came and who said they were set up. I have, food and everything set up for sale and everything. And when I got there, it's like no one. You can literally throw a rock through that church and no one would be injured because it was that scanty. It was nobody there. And so in my mind, I was like, what is happening? I remember sitting at the back of the church and literally I wanted to cry. And my cousin, she had came over to me. She said, don't you dare cry. Cause she could see it on my face, and she's like, "Don't you dare cry! I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what is happening. You're gonna keep the faith, and you're gonna accomplish the goal." And I was just sitting there. I was trying my best not to cry, everything not to cry, but in my mind, I was just thinking to myself. And the performers were performing, and there was nobody for them to perform in front of except for the other performers who had to come to perform. And I felt so disappointed. In my mind, I'm like, these people trusted me. These people came out, and nobody's here to see them. And I'm like, how am I supposed to put a smile on my face? And how am I supposed to greet them with this level of disappointment? Not even my pastors came, not even like some people that I thought would have showed up, they didn't come. And so I'm thinking to myself, what's going to happen here? But I put myself together. I got up the next day, and because the church that we used was not my home church, it was another church that I would have used to have the event. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go back to that church. I'm just gonna sow seed. I'm just gonna sow seed. I'm just gonna thank them for giving me this opportunity to be able to, to just have this event here. Even though we didn't make any money because nobody showed up, I still wanted to, give back and say thank you to that to the pastor. And so I came, and some of my cousins, they went with me this Sunday as well, and we went to the service. And when I got there was a guard, and he was actually the one who was there the night. And when he saw me, I remember he just rushed to me, and I was like, "What's happening?" Because he was running, trying to stop me from leaving. And
Mm.
he caught my attention. He said, "I'm so happy that I saw you today, because when I was there, and I said, wow, this lady has faith." I was like, "He thinks because I'm about to jump ship." In my mind, I'm thinking this thing is not going to happen. Like, I am not understanding like what is going on. And so that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to jump ship or something because I'm not seeing what God has promised me. Like, it's not happening. But I kept the faith nonetheless. And he said to me, because of your faith and because of what I've seen, I want to really give back to you. And he said that he wanted to pour into me, and he made a actually donation towards the vision. And he said, he can see the vision, and he prays that I'm able to accomplish it, and he sold into me. The pastor prayed for me. All the other persons who were there too as well, they prayed for me as well. And that helped to light a fire under me because it showed me that, okay, Kimisha, something's going to happen. And then shortly after that, it was time to go. Still didn't have the funds. All the funds that I needed. I had to pay for the dorm. I had to pay all this stuff. I even had to purchase a ticket. I remember my mom and sister, they did a party for me, going away party, and everybody's celebrating that I'm leaving because everybody's obviously excited, right? That I'm getting to go overseas to study. But nobody knew that I didn't have the ticket. Nobody knew that I didn't have the permit to study. I didn't have a lot of things were not there, but I was celebrating with them like I got my yes already.
Mm.
I was celebrating, but a little part of me was so scared. What if this thing does not come to pass? Because people are showing up for me like because they believe me because I'm so bold in my faith, and they think that this has occurred. Long and short of that, I went to the airline place that I purchased the ticket, and I purchased the ticket late, so the ticket was much more money because when you purchase it, you pay more, and so I did that in faith, and I'm like, okay, I arrived now at the university. I still don't know where about the dorm. I had made a down payment for the dorm, but I didn't know how I was going to pay the balance. I didn't know anything. I didn't know if I got approved with a scholarship. I knew nothing, but I went, and they had a meeting with the international students. And here I am. I'm sitting. I'm waiting to meet the coordinator. At the end, I had walked with a gift for her because I felt like she was really helpful. And I wanted to give her just a thank you gift, not a bribe, but just to say thank you for all that she had done through the process. And I'm really scared now because I'm thinking if I go to her, she says, "Well, why are you here?" Because this is very bold, right? So I'm thinking like, what if she says, "Why are you here?" And so I'm like, okay. Okay, so I walked up to her and I say, "Hi, I'm Kimisha from Barbados." And she begins to freak out. She almost went to tears. She was like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you made it. I'm so glad you made it. I was so," listen, she said, "I saw your application. I recognized the errors that were made because at my home university, they made errors in my application for the scholarship." She said, "I know through speaking to you that you needed a full year, but they said it was only for one term. So I pulled the application, I made the changes, and I resubmitted it to the vice chancellor. And so we just have to wait about 2, 3 weeks and we'll have an answer. But I'm so glad you make it," because she said, "I couldn't tell you if you were going to get it or not because he has to sign off. But I'm glad that you are here." And just like she said, in 2, 3 weeks, they responded. I got approved. I actually got the funding. I got the stuff and everything, and I was just blown away. And I never lacked for anything. I had an amazing year at Queen's University. I had all the stuff that I needed. I even had stuff that I could help others. Can you believe that? Because of my faith, I was able to travel to about 7 or 9 different cities, throughout the USA and Canada, and I had a blast. And it has been an experience of a lifetime, and it has really helped to shape who I am today, I would say, because it helped me to grow and to build, and I learned so much there. And so to answer the question, it's a long way to answer that, but to answer the way question, who is Kimisha? I'll say Kimisha is a woman of faith. She's a woman who's willing to trust God and a woman who's willing to put in the work and get things done. And if she has a dream, she's going to pursue that dream despite the odds that she may be faced with. And so she's willing to get up and make things work. And she understands that it's only possible with God.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm actually glad you went the long way because it helps me understand you way more now.
Yeah.
Um, it does because you said a few things and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. But
Okay.
in the beginning, you talked about your mother training you to say, no, you have to pay. And I think as business owners, as people that love other people, our first desire is to help,
Yeah.
not realizing that we got into business to make money
That's
and
true.
that they only do that to the people who let them. Because you're right, they'll not pay
Yeah.
you, but then they're
Hmm.
off somewhere else, and
Yeah.
I've just kind of noticed that, it's okay to say no. That's actually in the book. One of the chapters in my book is the value of no, because I
Yeah.
was the one that couldn't say no. But lately, not lately, just when I start writing the book is when I realized no is an important piece of vocabulary to have in your arsenal there, because
Yeah.
I realized people will only let they will do only what you let them do.
That's right.
You got the people who they want you to do it for free. And when you say no, they
Hmm.
turn around and pay somebody else to do what they wanted you to do for free. But you could have
That's
simply
right.
said, hey, you might have even got it cheaper,
Yeah.
but
There's.
it's I don't know why people do that, but it is what it is. But
Yes.
we
Yeah.
have to, it also allows a peace if we learn how
Yeah.
to say no, because when we say
Hmm.
yes, we're saying yes to everybody else, but not leaving room to say yes to ourselves. So we end up not doing what we pushed for or we dreamed about or our goals and what God gave us. And that's the important part. We
Mm.
often don't do what God told us to do because we're so busy saying yes to other people, not realizing
Hmm.
that you will have to answer to God for that. And
Yeah.
I'd rather say no than answer to God. I
That's
just
right.
I'd
That's
rather.
right.
Another thing you talked about is that I guess was making me super excited, but the resilience and the determination.
Yeah.
Um, the fact that you kept going like that. So
Hmm.
that applying faith, I don't know if anybody else don't know what faith looks like. That's what faith looks like. That's what
Yeah.
applying faith looks like, because it
Hmm.
is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
That's
So
right.
we have to keep, even though you didn't see it, you didn't
Yeah.
know it. You even went over there not knowing. Like
That's
you
right.
crossed the ocean without
Yeah.
knowing. Girl, that's faith. That's big
Yes.
faith.
I'm telling you.
And we all, if we just would hold on to the faith that we know, that is
Yeah.
what it looks like, is when you walk on that water to get to the other side, just to say,
Hmm.
you don't even know. You
That's
don't
right.
even know. And
Hmm.
the fact that all these other things, that day you were doing the musical,
Hmm.
most people would have stopped before that. But the day you did the musical and nobody showed up, most
Wow.
people would have quit right then, and you did it.
I'm-
And the fact that your first thought was, let me go sow a seed,
Yes.
girl, you are amazing. You are amazing. I'm gonna have to make you my woman crush Wednesday. But I love that. I love that. And it's inspiring. It's inspiring and it's encouraging. We
Yeah.
talked about applying faith. I love how you said I could be disappointed, but I'm not going to stay there. And it
Yeah.
reminded me of a Ty Tribbett song, Only One Night
Mm.
Though. You can cry, you can be sad, all that can
That's
happen.
right.
You can be angry, you can do all that, but for
Yeah.
one night though, because joy
Yeah.
comes in the morning.
That's
So
right. That's
right.
right.
So I love that. I love that you said that. Um,
Hmm.
Another thing that we deal with as not just women, but as people, is being
Hmm.
disappointed when the ones we thought would show up don't.
That's right.
And that
Big
really,
one.
really is hurtful.
Yes.
And sometimes that makes us want to say, that's when you start
Mhm.
doubting, be like, oh, maybe this ain't what God had for me. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I am crazy for trying to do
Yes.
this and this and this. But
That's right.
it's not. It's not that.
Mhm.
Who
Mm.
shows up is supposed to show up. Who doesn't show up
That's
is
right.
not supposed to show up. And we have to understand that
Mhm.
what God allows is right.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think
Yes.
he might have been trying to create something in you right then. Now you
Yes. I
got
think so.
banana faith. Like, oh my God, you got faith through the roof after this. You already had faith, but
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
it just tripled in size. But had
Yeah.
somebody been there and you got everything you wanted, you would have stopped
True.
being faith for that moment. But
Oh, that's true.
you had to trust him in all things the whole way
Yes.
through, all the way
Mhm.
across the ocean, walking
That's
up
so
to the
true.
counselor, wondering if
That
she
is
gonna
so
be like, what you doing here?
true. Yes.
That was faith. That was faith,
Yes.
and I loved it.
Yes.
And the last
Mhm.
thing I got from that was um, when the man sowed into your life, and he was
Yes.
glad you showed up in church, but he sowed into your life, and it kickstarted something else. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I love that God
Mhm.
will always remind you that He heard you. It might not it might not be what you prayed. It might not be the actual goal, but sometimes He
Mhm.
puts a little fire to remind us that He heard us. And
That's right.
that I love that, and I love that for you. Wow,
Mhm.
you're more amazing than I thought you were before. That's just so cool, and
Yeah.
I'm saying it too because
Yeah.
it's it's good to hear right now in the season I'm in, and
Ah.
it makes me say, keep going. It
Yeah.
don't matter who don't
Yeah.
show. It don't matter who
Yeah.
don't show. It don't matter.
That's
It
right.
don't matter. It don't
Yeah.
matter. So as you're
Yeah.
telling this story, I'm like, it's making me say, yeah. Because
Mhm.
for the first month, I was like, yeah, God got it. The second month, I was like, okay, God got it. The third
Yeah.
month, I was like, okay, Jesus, you got it. You know,
Are you there?
by the fourth month, I was like, okay, Lord, are you still there? Like, but I'm glad you said that. And I'm glad you told the
Mhm.
full story because
Yeah.
I'm back to, you know what? What God
Yeah.
allowed, right? He's sovereign.
Mhm.
And no matter
Mhm.
what, I'm going there with all his glory for him.
Amen.
Period.
Amen.
So I thank you for sharing that part. Wow, I
Absolutely.
still got so many questions to ask you though. Let's talk about this. You
Yeah.
were sworn in as the
Mhm.
justice of peace for Barbados. Look at that.
That's right.
How did that
Look
even
at
come
God.
about? Was that a dream? Was that a goal?
Mhm. Mhm. It was. It actually was something that I said that I always wanted to do. Honestly, in the first place, I never thought I would have been interested, to be quite honest. But then I think that came about somewhere around like 2023 or so. I said, I wonder how that happens. I wonder, if I could, become that. I remember I asked a friend, and she said it's simple. You just go and you apply. I was like, you can apply. She's like, yeah, you can just go, you speak to your minister, you see, but obviously they have to accept the application. I'm
Right.
like, okay, I'll do that. But every time I kept forgetting. I kept forgetting to do it because I was so busy and I kept forgetting all the time. And so months will pass and I'll remember. And then shortly, just around, I think it was like last year, it was weighing on me so heavy. Get up and go, get up and go. And I'll tell you that that didn't come easily at all. Even that was a fight. I'm like, why do I have to fight for everything, God? Why is everything a fight? And so there was a lot of spiritual warfare that, was attached to that, that I'm not necessarily privy to say as we're on live right now. But there was a lot of fight with that. It didn't come easy. And so I didn't even tell anybody that I was applying for it, to be quite honest, because of the level of the warfare. You have to use wisdom. And so I didn't say anything to anyone. It's only at the ending stages that, that I was trying to get certain things in place and so on. And then eventually it came through and it was definitely God in pulling it through. And I'm like, okay, look at God. He keeps his promises. He's so faithful. And that's what has happened. And I'm still in awe at it. I'm like, oh wow, look at God. Look
Wow.
at God. He did
Wow.
it. He did it. Yeah.
He one thing I
Yeah.
recently experienced is the good word.
Mhm.
It was when I was in Italy in
Yeah.
September, and we went to the Amalfi Coast, and we
Mhm.
got on the boat to go around to the other part of the coast.
Mhm.
And I remember getting to the top of the boat, and I turned
Mhm.
around so I could take a video of what we're seeing. And
Mhm.
when I put it in my camera view, it was the exact picture that I had put in my things to do list, you know,
Wow.
on my bucket list, if you whatever else you
Wow.
call it. And I just remember saying, "Oh my God, I forgot
Wow.
I even prayed for this."
Yes. Look at that.
Were happening, and I remember saying, "Wow, He still answers prayers that you forgot you even prayed for."
That's right. That's right.
And my mind was like, "Wow, for real, God, I'm here." I mean, it is 20 years later, but it didn't
Yeah.
matter. It was the right time. We
Yeah.
want him to do stuff right now, right now, right now, but
It's true.
right now
It's
is
true.
not always the time. I
That's right.
wouldn't have appreciated what I'm
Mhm.
going, what the season that I'm in and have been in the last few years. I wouldn't have appreciated it 5, 10 years ago. I wouldn't have known what to do with it. The fact
Yeah.
that I'm in the place where, okay, I'm not stressed about time. It's not like, oh,
Mhm.
well, let me get back. I only got 5 days to be in Italy and I got to be back and I got to do it. It wasn't even like
Yeah.
that. It was like,
Mhm.
this is nice. Maybe we should stay another week. You know, so I'm
Look
like,
at that. Look at that.
right. But he does things that we told ourselves no. We counted
Yeah.
out because it didn't happen right then. And
Mhm.
my advice to people is don't count God out. Don't give
That's
up
right.
on your dreams because it didn't happen when you asked for it. Don't give up on what you want because it doesn't seem like it's happening. And
Yeah.
one thing I kind of laugh at myself at now is, for a while after I got divorced the first time, um,
Mhm.
I stayed single to raise my children. And then
Mhm.
after the children, I thought, soon as they're 18, I'm out, I'm back out in these streets because I need to be married. I've been single long enough. Let me get married.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I honestly thought at basically as soon as they got grown, I would find the love of my life and get married. And it
Mm.
didn't happen. I kept finding these toads. And I'm like, it was horrible, horrible. And
Wow.
I'm like, one person after the other, one person. And I just thought, oh my God. So I told
Yeah.
myself, forget it. I told God,
Mm.
I can't do this. I can't take not one more heartbreak. I can't.
Mhm.
So what
Mhm.
I decided was, let me do what I'm doing. Let me do my ministry 100%, and let me be the
Yeah.
best grandma I can be in the whole wide world. And I had settled on that, and I was okay with that because I wasn't gonna go through that no more.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird stuff going on out in the world,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't remember.
Ooh.
I
Mhm.
just it was like, whoa. So anyway, so a couple years ago that changed, and I went ahead and I got married. And I remember telling God years ago, this is way before all the disastrous relationships, but I had told him I didn't want to date anybody else. I don't want to date. I just want somebody who knows what they want, and they just walk up and they say, hey, I want to get married. And I used to laugh about that until it actually happened. So when it actually happened, I was like, okay, that was weird. And I first kept saying, well, why is he just asking me? He don't even know me. How he just gonna ask me to marry him? And then it was later on. It was later on when I'm like, but that's what you prayed for. That's what you prayed for. So we're going to take a moment right now, make sure we say hey to everybody that came on. Hey, ladies. Hey, everybody. We got Mona. Hey, Mona. How are you? Thank you for being here. We got Joyanne. Hey, Joyanne. I hope I'm saying that right. And then we have Marsha, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Who else we got over here? Uh-oh, we got Lady Tiffany in the house. Hey, Lady Tiffany. Woo! We are so glad that you are here. And Beyond Fab. Hey, Beyond Fab said, congratulations, Kimisha. That's what we were talking about, the justice. Um, and Tiffany said, hey, ladies, it's a PIR reunion. I love it. I love it. I love it. But what I was saying was, God doing the things for us
Yes.
that
Mhm.
we forgot we even asked for. So
That's true.
I don't know if you got to hear it, but while
Yeah, I
all
did.
this,
Yeah, I think I got. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
and so again, when my now husband said he wanted to get married, I'm like, you don't even know me though. Like that's weird. Why would you just met me? you know, but I'm like, it's what I asked for. Why do we do that? We ask God for something, and then when it happens, we like, oh no, that's not what I meant, Lord. Or we shoo it away, or we walk or turn away from it, but we ask for it.
This
So
is true.
I'm like,
This is
Tiffany
true.
said, that's exactly where I am at. Lord,
Wow.
I don't have time. I need him to know me and know who he is to me. Right, exactly. Because
That
we
part. That
ain't
part.
nobody got time for that. Like at all.
No, at
At all.
all.
Because
At
that's
all.
that's a whole nother segment in itself we might have to get into.
This is
Because
true.
I
This
know a
is
lot
true.
of people dealt with some feelings this Valentine's,
Uh
but
oh.
count it all joy. Because
Yeah.
it's better to be with who God gave you than to just be with whoever you have at that moment.
This is true.
It's so much better. And I'm saying
Yeah.
that as a person who would just go out with somebody because they were the person who asked, or
Yeah.
who would spend time with somebody only because they were there. And
Mm.
clearly that didn't work out too well.
Mhm. Mm.
So
Yep.
wait for the right one because it's some monsters out there, y'all. It's some monsters out there, and we don't like monsters,
No,
not at all. But
certainly not.
um,
Mhm.
oh wow, time is really, really flying. Okay, let me get through these questions. So I wanted to ask, first of all, congratulations on your Phenomenal
Thank
Woman
you.
Award.
Thank you.
You
Thank
just
you.
a whole bunch of congratulations going on around here. Yes, she was just awarded the Phenomenal Woman Award, which is
Yeah.
clearly well deserved. Clearly well
Mhm.
deserved. So congratulations on that.
Thank
But
you so much. Thank you.
I wanted to get into really quick.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said it already, but Queen's mindset. Does that have anything
Mhm.
to do with the school?
No,
Okay.
saying at all.
Where where did that come from? What was happening in your life spiritually or and
Yeah.
personally when God gave you the strategy for Queen's mindset?
I love that question because I was actually attending a conference. I was attending a convention at the time, and the speaker he was talking about jumping. He said sometimes you just have to jump, do it scared, do it afraid. And I thought, okay. So I went back to my hotel room, and as soon as I got in the room, I took up my phone and I'm like, I'm gonna start the Instagram page, and I'm like, what am I gonna call it? And the name just came. Sometimes you have to stop and ponder, like, what should it be? And you write down stuff. I didn't have to do that. It came directly, and I started it. But I started the page with the intention that I was going to put out a page to just empower women. I was going to post quotes and post videos and stuff just to encourage women and to help to empower them. That's what I thought because I was the encourager in the group of my friends. I was the one that was always encouraging and motivating and so on. And so I thought that was it. But God has such another plan that He never told me. Because honestly, if He had told me, I would have said no. I would have said no. You've got the wrong one. You better find someone else. Because I just was like no. But I started off in 2017, and I started posting my quotes. And then shortly after that, I started doing some videos. But in 2018, something happened for me where I remember when I was trying to collaborate with some other women, And this one lady in particular, she had said to me that she didn't think I was ready, and she questioned if I had what it took to continue and all that stuff. And then because of the questions that she asked me and how she spoke to me, I began to question myself, question my value, question my worth. And I started thinking to myself, maybe I'm not ready to encourage women on, in the way that I think. She was doing really well. I admired her, I admired all the stuff that she was doing. So when she started talking to me like that, I was thinking, okay, maybe I may need to dull it back a bit. And I kind of went into a cave. I shut down everything for an entire year. I did nothing in 2018. And then in 2019, I'll never forget it. I mean, God spoke to me so strong. He said, you're going to start it back and you're not going to stop. Start it again, and this time don't you stop. And so I just started. And I remember persons were saying we were doing live sessions and persons were enjoying that. And then from the live sessions, people started asking for more. And then COVID came. And so here COVID is. And I started my YouTube channel and I started just talking and sharing videos and sharing stuff. And then here I am now. And I started thinking, you know what? I need to do something more. And I remember I was having a conversation with my mentor, and she said, there's a program that you're going to create and it's going to go global. All right. And she started prophesying to me, and I'm thinking to myself, what program? Like, what's she talking about? She's like, it's going to go global. I see you going this place, that place. I see you doing this, doing that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, but maybe not now. That's what I'm saying. I'm not, maybe not now. And then shortly after that, then God gave me the name again. And I started the Battered Bruised Not Broken. And I just started it in 2020. I started interviewing women from all walks of life. And Queen's Mindset just kept expanding, and God kept sharpening the vision all the time. And so He would not tell me everything. He would let me take one step, and then when I finish that step, then He will release a little bit more. And He keeps doing that all the time because the vision is so big that it literally scares. So I kept getting more stuff, and I kept doing it. So here comes along the TV show. We started doing that on YouTube, and then He birthed a conference in 2022. So the same TV show turned into a conference that we have now annually. It's been happening now. This year is going to be the 5th year we've been doing it. And it's been happening ever since then. And I started, the first one I did, I was scared. And I was like, what is happening? And then women came out. We had a full room. I was shocked because I didn't understand that women were so hungry for, they wanted healing. They wanted these things. And God was using me to help them. And I was like, okay. All right, how am I going to do this? But every step along the way, He helped me. And then it turned into coaching. And then I did my coaching program. I got my certificate, became a certified life coach. And then I kept building, and I did my training. And I became a visionary strategist. And I'm like, God, what's happening here? And then shortly after that, I got ordained as a prophet. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I always used to say I don't like prophets because I think they're malicious. And I'm like, oh, what is happening? Hold up. This is too much. I was just thinking, like, this is just too much. Like, I don't know what's going to happen here. And then He said, write a book. I'm like, write a what? Yeah, write a book. You're going to write it in 3 months, and this is going to be the title. And I did it. I couldn't even believe. And I told persons I wrote it in 3 months. People were like, what? I was like, I just did what God said. And then He birthed more books, and I kept getting prophecy. I see you writing this book and that book. And I'm like, no, I only write one book. In my mind, I'm thinking, I'm just doing one. I'm just doing one. It's like, no. I see you doing this, see you doing that. And it just kept happening. And then up to last year, then I remember I had gotten a prophetic word about us coming together and me building this big community. And I'm like, oh my God, that's what God has been talking to me about building a community for women and having it more solidified. And in 2024, we became a nonprofit organization, and we kept growing and expanding. And then shortly after that, I thought that was going to be it. But God said, no, we got to take it up a little bit more here. And in 2025, then we became a nonprofit now in the USA. So we don't have our paperwork, everything, and we can now, do everything there. And I'm like, okay, God, what's going to happen next? And He's like, no, we're going to work on something else. I'm going to take you through another layer. And so it kept growing, and we turned into a membership organization. And I'm like, oh my goodness. You see, when we went into a membership organization, I've never seen licks like anything like that, because some of the persons that you thought were with you were not with you at all. And so I'm thinking, like, okay, I'm doing all of these things and all of the sacrifices that I'm making because I'm building everything pocket, because I don't have anybody who's coming and funding a lot of the things. You're pulling from your pocket and you're using faith to build stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, God, what's going to happen next year? Like, what's going to happen? But he gave me the vision. He said, you're gonna become a membership organization. So you build that. And so I started walking that out, and we're still in the process of walking it out. So I can't fully go into that because I know God is still working it out. But that in itself, just making that step was a lot of challenges that came on board. We had a lot of persons who didn't agree with it, and there's so many different things along the way. But I kept going because God gave me the mandate. This is what He said. And even though I may not understand it fully, I just kept doing it. And then He branched it out. I started doing speaking engagements. I started traveling to speak as well. And I started to do more. Then the awards started to come in and the recognition started to come in. And I understand what God was doing and that He was using me to help others to birth their vision and walk in their purpose. And so Queen's Mindset really was created on that foundation to help women and youth birth their vision and walk in their purpose. And so the programs that I started doing with youth across Barbados, we've been able to impact over 500 students. And that's been amazing. That's across 10 schools so far. And we've just been able to help them with things like peer pressure, building self-confidence, dealing with low self-esteem and that kind of stuff. And we've been able to help them understand that the identity, understanding that where they come from, that dysfunction doesn't make them into who they are and stuff that we dealing with dysfunction in the family because so many families are dysfunctional. And so we spend a lot of time dealing with that stuff too as well through that program. And it just has blew my mind because I'm like, Queen's Mindset started as a Instagram page just to send quotes. That's it. And now here we are as a global institution, recognized globally, not just within the USA, within Canada, within Africa, throughout the Caribbean. And I'm like, oh my goodness, people know Queen's Mindset now. And I'm stunned. I'm stunned at the work that God is doing. I can't take any credit at all.
So
Yeah.
with you empowering women and youth,
Yeah.
how can what identity struggles are you seeing globally right now?
That's a really loaded question. Okay, so the main identity, some persons are struggling with who they are. That's it. The identity, just who you are, accepting who you are and who you've called to be. There's some people who are aware. So, for example, there's some persons who know, okay, God has called me to preach the gospel. Let me use that one for an example. But because of fear, timidity, because of self-esteem and understanding their worth and thinking that, maybe it's not me and maybe it's not time, they're struggling to accept and pick it up. And they're not able to fully walk it out. Then there are others who God have called to go ahead and really access, or not just access, but dominate the marketplace. He called them to go ahead and dominate. They have visions and ideas and businesses and all that stuff. But because of timidity, again, they don't think that they know it. They don't think they're seeing themselves as less than and not seeing themselves in the eyes that God sees them as. And so they're struggling. It's like this tug of war in who God has called them to be. And I'm seeing that so much because there's so much talent and there's so much gifting, but because they don't see themselves as that, they're comparing themselves, and comparison is the stealer of all joy. And I'm seeing a lot of women who are comparing themselves to other women, and they're saying, you know what, I'm not like Kimisha, or I'm not like Gladys, so I can't do this. I don't know how to speak this way. And the thing is, you don't have to speak like Kimisha. You don't have to speak like Gladys. You just need to speak like you. You just need to do like you. You don't have to do the business in the way that you've seen it. You do it like you. You have a unique mark, and it's about you doing it in that unique way. And it really goes back to, the grounding, the foundation, getting back to where it all began. We were created in the image of Christ. And so if we were created in the image of Christ, that we must look like him, right? And so I think when persons come back to that place of who God says they are and who they are, not understanding that, I think that's what makes the shift. I think that's what changes things around for some persons. But right now, persons are not going back to the center. They need to go back to the center, go back to the one who created them. And when they go back there, that's where they can take off. So that's really where the identity struggle is, not seeing themselves in the eyes that God has seen them.
And I guess that kind of answers my next question, but it was how can women break these cycles? And you just answered that, and that's to go back. What you said was really, really, really good, because we do deal with, I would have to say, childhood upbringings. What people said to you, what they said about you. And then even though we try to block it out, even as adults, we try to block it out, it kind of be in there. When you
That's
say,
right.
well, no, I can't do this, I can't do that. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in a way where, in apostolic, we don't wear makeup, we don't wear jewelry, we don't wear pants, and if you do, you're going to hell. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
it's hard to get out of that, since
Mm-hmm.
you've been told that for
Mm-hmm.
so long, or the fact that women do not preach. We don't. So you know
Yeah,
what I mean? This is what you're taught. So when it's your turn or somebody else
yeah,
tells you, I see God is sending you here, here, and here, and you're saying
yeah,
it can't be possible. God doesn't,
yeah.
women don't do this. He didn't ordain women for this. And you have these stuck moments because it's how you are. But it's with the identity. I see where that can be a huge struggle for a lot of women.
Yeah, yeah.
We've dealt with things, whether it is bad relationships. Sometimes, if you're in so many bad relationships, you
Mm-hmm.
start to think that's you, how
Yeah.
they treat you, how they treat you so bad. And I was
Mm-hmm.
one of them. I remember after that last hurricane, I said to myself, God, is that, and I'm calling the relationship a hurricane. Uh, I said to God, is that how you
Yeah.
see me? These are
Mm.
people professing to be men of
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
So
yeah.
for a minute, because everything was going so bad, I was like, oh my God, what, God, do you see me that way? And he got me
Mm-hmm.
real straight, real quick, because that's not, they didn't go to the cross for me. He did. They
That's
didn't die
right.
for my sins. He did.
Right.
So
That's
I
right.
can't
Right.
account what they did to what God.
Yeah,
That's not God. That's not God.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that people do that too with church. Oh, the
yeah.
church hurt me. No, the people
Mm-hmm.
in there did. God didn't
Yeah.
do that. And we're taking it out on him, saying we're never going
Mm-hmm.
back, or God is not real, or whatever we say. But God didn't do
Yeah,
that to you.
that's
You
right.
mess you up. It's the people. It's the
Yeah.
people. So we have to
Mhm.
understand. So it's best if we do figure out our own identity in God and stick
Yeah.
to that, because what he says matters. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter
Yeah.
what the person said, or that person said, oh, I don't see you doing that, or oh, you're
Hmm.
not ready for that. But what
Yeah.
did God say?
That's
What did
right.
God say? So that's what we have to get in our heads, so that we
Yeah.
are not distracted and fall off, or we quit,
Hmm.
or we stop. What did God say? Who did God say you were? And that's
That's
what
right.
100% matters. Um,
Yeah.
if
Hmm.
anybody has any questions, though, you guys go ahead and type it, and then I will pull it up, because I'm getting ready to close with her. I've kept her on here for a long time. I'm gonna have to have you back, because there was about 12 more questions I didn't ask. So I'm gonna have to have you back, for real,
No problem.
because it's
Yeah.
important. It's important. But I have a
Yeah.
little segment that I like
Hmm.
to do, and it's called rapid fire. So
Okay.
I'm gonna I'm gonna give you two choices, and without
Okay.
thinking, you gotta answer it.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Let me go find it. And
Mhm.
some of them are fill in the blank, so you gotta remember that
Okay.
too.
Mm.
All right. So this is our rapid fire segment. So here we go. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
The scripture you lean on the most right now.
No weapon formed against me shall ever prosper.
A queen never forgets to what?
Wear her crown.
Faith or strategy first?
Faith.
What breaks your heart the most about this generation?
Say that one again. I missed that one.
What breaks your heart the most about this generation?
We're lost.
Whew. Whoa, for real.
Yeah.
All right. One thing every woman must heal from.
Heartbreak.
Legacy or impact?
Legacy.
Fill in the blank. God is teaching me to blank.
Trust him.
One habit of yours that keeps you spiritually grounded.
Take it to God in prayer. Everything.
I knew you
Yeah.
was going to say prayer. All right. Conference stage or one-on-one?
One on one.
What does Queen's mindset mean in 3 words?
It's Freeze mindset is empowerment, it's impact, and it is also encouragement.
I love it. Advice to a woman who feels unseen.
Mm. Uh, my advice to her, if you feel on saying, I want you to do a test. I want you to take a mirror up. I want you to look at that mirror. I want you to look at who you see in that mirror. And I want you to begin to speak to yourself as though someone else was speaking to you. I begin to speak words, great positive words over yourself. And you will see how the atmosphere is going to shift, how your thought process is going to shift, your mindset is going to shift because you're now looking into the mirror at who you really are. And so that's what I would say to that woman who feels unseen.
I love it. I love it. What fuels your vision when you are tired?
Hmm. My why.
Okay.
My
Okay.
why.
Your favorite affirmation?
What's my favorite affirmation? I have so many. I'm thinking,
Right.
I'm thinking, I'm thinking. God will make a way when it seems to be no way.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Journaling or voice notes?
Journaling.
Worship or worship music or silence?
Worship music.
Vision board or written plan?
Vision board.
Bold step or waiting season?
Bold step.
Finish this sentence. A woman becomes powerful when she is blank.
One becomes powerful when she's walking with Christ.
I love it. I love it. That's
Yeah.
your rapid fire. Yay. That was excellent. That was excellent. As we get ready to close,
Yeah.
how can people stay in
Yeah.
contact with you?
Awesome. So those who are tuning in now and those who will catch a replay, you can follow me at Queen's Mindset. That's on Instagram. That's also on Facebook. Or you can follow me at Kimisha King on Facebook and also Kimisha King on LinkedIn. Queen's Mindset on YouTube as well. And if you want to reach out to us, you can send us an email, and that is going to be infoqueensmindset@gmail.com. Infoqueensmindset@gmail.com.
All right. And in our closing, if you could, you kind of already did, but if you could encourage women right
Mhm.
now, what would you tell them?
To that woman who is watching, and maybe you're lost. Maybe you are still trying to figure out your purpose. You're still trying to figure out why am I here or what is it that God has called me to do. I want you to take a moment to just spend some quiet time in the presence of the Lord. And as you spend that quiet time in the presence of the Lord, I don't want you to just ask for stuff. I want you to sit and wait and listen. It's not easy to sit and be still and to listen. It's an art. And so I encourage you to do that because as you stay still in the presence of the Lord, He's going to begin to speak to you. And He's probably already speaking, but because of the noise that is happening around you, that's what's distracting you from hearing His voice. And so I want to urge you to just stay still, sit in silence, listen to His voice. And as He speaks, I want you to move whatever He says, even if you think it's not possible, even if you see that is, based on your circumstance or whatever, don't question, just move. And as you become obedient, you're going to see the doors of favor open, the opportunities will begin to open. You're going to see so many things begin to happen because there is a purpose on the inside of you and you already know what it is. It's that thing that you've been so passionate about, the thing that you love, the thing that you would literally do it without having to be paid because you naturally just you gravitate towards it. And that's the thing that He's calling you to do. He's calling you to dominate. But what's happening right now is that you're lacking boldness. You're lacking the confidence to truly take advantage of who He says you are because you are afraid based on what society tells you should be and how you should look and how you should act and based on the environment that you're in. And so I would encourage you to begin to shift the environment. It's not going to be easy. You may have to lose some friends. You may have to say no to some people. But in that process, as you are cleaning house, you're going to see how it's like you're getting rid of that. They call it brain fog. But in this case, you're getting rid of the fog that has been clouding your vision, that has been blocking you from being able to soar and being able to transform. Then assign yourself to some women, some powerful women of God who are out there dominating, who are doing great things, those authentic ones that you know for a fact that you can really lean on. go in those environments where they are. You don't have to know them personally. You can even just watch them on YouTube. They can become your mentors. Learn from them, grow with them, and everything that they share, go back to God again and let Him show you, let Him order your steps so that you can begin to fully walk in that place that God has called to be. And remember that you've been created in the image of God and that He has already given you everything, because He said from your mother's womb, He knew you even from your mother's womb, and He know already that there is greatness on the inside of you. And so you've been called to a specific thing. It doesn't matter what that thing is. What matters is that God gave you it. And because He gave you it, He's going to equip you for it. So you will flourish and you will conquer and you will overcome. But you first have to believe it. And you first have to desire what He has already placed in you. And so I urge you to spend that time. And as He reveals, move quickly. And you're going to see what God is about to do.
Wow. Never
Yeah.
fails. You be on it.
Yeah.
You be on it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But that also is a testament to your walk with God.
Yeah.
You be spot on. But I am going to let you go. But for our listeners, y'all, thank you for being here. I know that you were encouraged. You had to be. You had to be. I know that I was. But y'all don't forget that we got the I Win conference coming up March 27, 28. Make sure you register, secure your room, because that conference rate won't last forever. So go ahead and secure your room, register, and get ready to be prepared to accept all that God is going to give you and for you to walk out of that conference ready to win. Make sure you go to www.sisterscafeinc.com if you have any questions. We got vendors, opportunities, sponsors, opportunity, volunteers, and all that stuff. But anything you need to know, go to the website. Kimisha, thank you so much. I will have you on again because I got so much more. But
thank you for having me.
All right, we'll see you again for another segment of Sisters Cafe. Bye.